Digital audio health by Cymatrax.
Welcome to the No Problem Parenting Podcast. Hey there, parents. Did you know there's a way to transform your kids' behavior? That's right. I'm a parenting coach and strategist, and we're going to seek first to understand why your kids are behaving the way they are, so we can really go deeper with your own behaviors and what is happening in your relationship with your kiddos from the inside out, to take the actions and steps necessary to problem solve and transform your parenting so that you can become the confident leader your kids crave you to be. I promise you there is a solution for your parenting problems. Hey there, I'm Jackie Finneman, and after 30 years and more than 50,000 hours of working with countless kids and families, ranging from the severe behaviors that required out-of-home placement to the, she just doesn't listen to me anymore behaviors, there is a solution. When you, the parent, feel confident, when you don't feel the need to rescue your kids, and you aren't losing your cool and yelling all the time, your kids' behavior improves and your kids trust you. They trust that no matter what they're going through, you are going to help them get through it. No Problem Parenting supports and teaches parents how to be the best leader and advocate for your child. If you feel like no matter how nice you are or how strict you are, your kiddos are still struggling, it's time to get off the struggle bus and become the confident leader your kids crave you to be. Join me on this journey of behavioral strategies and resources so that you can feel empowered as a parent again and turn your everyday parenting problems into no problem. Digital audio is used by over 4 billion people each day. Cymatrax Incorporated has developed patented technology that takes digital audio files and filters out frequencies which take away from the brain's decision-making, giving listeners more energy, less stress, and a higher cognitive focus. So podcasts, music recordings, corporate training, online education, books on audio, and many other applications are already using Cymatrax technology. And we're thankful to Cymatrax for being a sponsor of the No Problem Parenting Podcast. And I thought, you know what, how fun would it be to bring the inventor, the founder of Cymatrax Incorporated onto the show. So I am super excited to have you here today. Welcome, Mr. Alan Brunton.
Hi, Jackie. It's so awesome to be here with you.
Let's just begin, Alan, by you kind of talking about how you came to this discovery and what your mission and vision for it was. What motivated you?
Well, my background comes from being raised in an environment where my father was an inventor, and I got to see a lot of out-of-the-box thinking environment and a lot of things that were being repurposed. Let's say an item that was manufactured for one purpose, I got to see then my father as an inventor take it and create something else. And so that carried on with me. So whenever I see like a sign out on the highway that says Chicago, 120 miles, one of those big green signs with a white trim, I think, well, what else can that sign be used for? And so, if you fold it in 90-degree angle, it could be used then as a tent or as a shelter. I mean, if you lay it flat and put two 55-gallon drums under it, you could use it as a table. That is just multitudes of things. So thinking about that, and then also my background and my career choices included being a professional opera singer. So I'm very much in tune to sound, but also with sound, I was an audio engineer. And I got some information about the difference between concert A at 440 hertz and 432. Now, when I saw some of the preliminary reports and clinical trials being done on that, I said, well, that's really interesting. So I started converting all of the music that I was listening to from concert A at 440 hertz to 432. And during that time, I actually went out and got my IQ tested at Mensa, and it was tested at 130. And they said, yeah, come on and join. And I went, no. I've got too many other things to do. So after that, I continued to listen to all of this music that I had converted. And after 5 years, I went back and retested at Mensa. And my IQ had gone from 130 up to 142. Now, I'm not going to blame it all just because of me changing everything from frequency but it can't really be anything else. The from the 440 to 432. And so I'm encouraging others to be able to look and optimize at the discoveries that we have made, because we have had one trial already completed from James Madison University, and they're working on another one right now about how to use specific frequencies and filter out the white noise found in all digital audio to optimize the brain's potential in a better, clearer, and stronger signal to the brain, so that we don't fall asleep, and that we retain the information that we're looking to evaluate, whether it's something taking an online test or listening to a book on audio, podcast, or so many other applications. So, I mean, that's just really how I got involved with it. And when I went down, somebody took me down to Dell Computers outside of Austin, and I met with the chief software buyer down there and explained to him about the software I wanted to create. And he was blown away by the chief software buyer there at Dell. He actually said to me, "I wish we could partner with you and develop your software, but we don't have anybody here that can write that code. I mean, it's a very specialized skill set. Only 1 in 1,000 code writers has that. So good luck in finding somebody, and come back and contact us after you get your feet on the ground and do something with it." So it took me about a year to find someone that did have the skill set to be able to write the code that I was looking for. And optimally, what happens is that because within the digital code of an digital audio file, everything is replicated and played back through ones and zeros within that code. And so I created software that will go in and locate where specific frequencies have been identified in clinical trials to raise the cognitive ability. And there are enormous amounts of specific frequencies that do that. But within my creation of the software, we've created software that goes into, analyzes digital audio, locates where these frequencies are that will raise your cognitive ability, locks onto them, and then I've created a filter that will reduce the volume, the amplitude of all the other frequencies in such a way so that it does not change the quality of the recorded digital audio file, but it will also give the listener more energy and raise their cognitive potential.
It's intriguing. And when you talk about the 440 to 432, and I mean, I have no clue what any of that means. What is the difference? And can you hear it?
Most people cannot hear the difference. Now, then the validation from professional musicians, I've got one woman who is a certified music therapist, a harpist, and she has 7 recordings, 7 CDs. And I ran one of her CDs through our software and sent it to her. Well, she called me back within 5 minutes and said, "Alan, I could feel the difference in 20 seconds. Now, the other musician was a Grammy Hall of Famer from Kool and the Gang, and he wanted to feel the difference for himself. So he emailed me his latest digital master. I ran it through the software, and then we met, and he put on my studio headphones and listened to both versions. And he said, the first one was sweet. It was pinpoint clear. I could hear each and every note exactly. I had so much energy, I felt like I could dance all night long. I know my own music. I worked on it in the studio. That second one was murky. It just made me want to roll up into a ball and go to sleep. I told him the second one was his original. And he just exclaimed and said, "Man, this needs to be in every recording studio in the world." So, the people that actually work with sound, that involve themselves in a recording studio for hours and days at a time while they're working on a professional release, those are the ones that can actually feel the difference. Most people cannot. But on our website at Simatrax.com, there is a button there on the front page that says "Take the Challenge." And there we have 3 different recordings: rock and roll, Mozart, and a spoken word, presented two different ways, column A and column B. Well, after people listen to both of those, and it's called Take the Challenge, they're able to then post their own feelings and the way that they talk about it and what it meant to them, the way to identify it. And so far, 71 to 74% of all the people who have taken the challenge have been able to correctly identify which column has been treated. And I'm not going to tell you because I want you and all your listeners to go there and to be able to have fun with it themselves. And they'll be very surprised. But 71 to 74% have correctly identified which one has been treated with our software, not because of the way it sounds, but because of the way they feel.
Interesting.
More energy, better focused attention, less distraction.
So can this be used in real time? Does everything need to be uploaded and filtered through the system in order to get the sound?
At the moment, no, it cannot. However, we do have the capability of producing and taking the algorithm and then put that into a silicon chip. And because there's only like 3 or 4 major chip manufacturers in the world, that might take a year or so. But actually, Samsung contacted me and was asking about taking our algorithm and put that then into their chip inside of their smartphones. But we shall see whether they feel that now is the time to be able to integrate that technology for all of their people or not. Hey, Apple's always on the call also. So, I'll just put it up to see who wants to use it. But in the meantime, anybody can use it. Our largest client is a continuing education university, Elite CEU. And they're based outside of Austin in Bastrop, Texas. What they have done is when somebody needs to renew their professional license, they go online and they watch these training videos and then they take a test. It's a pass-fail program. And if they pass, then they get their license renewed for another year. Well, what the owner for this company has done is he's extracted over 3,000 digital audio files from all of the training videos, and he's run it through the software and then put them back into the training videos so that when people are watching them now, then they do stay more alert and have better focused attention. And there's more people scoring and passing their test now. Plus, when asked a couple of weeks afterwards, what do you remember the most about the training this time around? We're getting answers that say things like, I remember everything like it was word for word. It's really strange, but it was like those messages stuck in my mind. So this would be a great facility for people to be able to, who are studying for tests or books on audio. Our main focus right now is actually to go or continue to focus on online education and corporate training, because in corporate training alone, we understand, I was speaking with the vice president at Deloitte about this, and he said that only 8 to 12% of people involved with AV training are totally engaged. And they remember 100% of what they're being taught, only 8 to 12%. And that the next 40% only retain 30% of what they're being taught, and the last 50% are totally disengaged. I mean, they could care less. All they want to do is check mark the box, submit the form to HR, get on a plane and go home. So with that little bit of small return on investment, HR departments and creative departments within large organizations are looking to find any way they can for better retention, like hiring famous actors and actresses like Morgan Freeman to read their training scripts. But this VP told me, he said, the only problem with it was they trusted that information too much because they got so comfortable that they fell asleep during the training. And I said, it's not because they trusted it too much. It's because there's white noise in it. And there's white noise in all digital audio. I mean, that's the reason why TED Talks never go beyond 15 or 18 minutes. They're all on stage talking through a microphone. And so if you go beyond 15 to 18 minutes, that's whenever all the white noise within the background takes effect and you just lose everything. I mean, if you're watching television, why do you think they call it the boob tube? Because there's white noise within that. It puts you to sleep so you won't lean forward from your couch and turn the channel. They want you to be asleep so their Nielsen ratings will be higher so they can charge more for the sponsor because they have a bigger market share.
I am filtering the No Problem Parenting podcast through Simatrax. And I already can tell, especially with my intros and outros, I can tell a little bit of a difference. I don't know it's necessarily what I hear. So I'm glad you're validating that point, that it's more about how I feel when I listen to it. So your software is actually helping individuals increase their focus and their energy. It's kind of bringing down their maybe agitation or stress, especially with so many of us working online. Video, I would say a lot of kids with homeschooling, when they're watching video tutorials or they're on the screen with their teachers. It's also helping people with neurological disorders such as autism, dementia, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's. Let's talk about that a little bit. What are the benefits for those folks?
Well, the Department of Communication Science and Disease at James Madison University is headed by Dr. Lincoln Gray. And he and I met a few times before he took on the testing of the Simatrax software, because he was saying, yeah, inside our laboratories, we've actually identified the autism gene. And I'll go, great, because that's exactly what a friend of mine, who is the leading pediatric neurologist at the largest children's hospital here in Dallas, has said to me, because she also just read a clinical trial report showing that specific frequencies then help give a better signal to autistic children. And that's what her specialty is with young children, is the autistic spectrum. So she was saying, Alan, we can use your software then as a daily therapy for autism. So, I mean, I've spoken with so many different neurologists about it. And as I describe it to them in their own language, they just look at me and say, it's all logical. It's just amazing. Nobody in our field has come up with this. And I said, well, that's what the guy at Dell told me. He said, had I come from technology, I would not have thought of this. It's only because I'm out of the box thinking, that I don't have a peer pressure group to analyze everything, that I was able to free think and put all this stuff together. And so, yeah, that's what we're doing right now. We have one trial that completed there from James Madison University showing the benefit as a daily therapy using our technology for PTSD and autism. So right now they're going through other trials using, I think, 20 different neurology master degree students who are up for their PhD enrollment, but they're doing trials right now to actually facilitate a deeper and more engaging testing of the Simatrax technology. So it's really exciting times that we are able to be able to help. Well, and like our mission statement on the website is, we are here to raise the human potential. So yeah, whenever I'm knowing that what we have created will be able to help, say an autistic child, and to be able to see a parent, with a tear running down the side of their face as they see that child have a breakthrough of some type, that is actually the greatest reward for me. So that I know that I was a part of being able to facilitate a better life or integration from the autistic community into the way that we handle our daily routines.
I just know it's going to help so many people, just people in general they're constantly thinking, they're constantly, dreaming up ideas and things that'll help that population of people. But it's really going to help people who are triggered by white noise. And then Again, I automatically think of people on the autism spectrum, also people with ADHD. Tell us a little bit about the effects of white noise on the brain and why we can benefit from getting rid of all that white noise, how that helps us.
Well, one of the first and primary reports that actually brought me into this was there was a report that was done. Let's see, who was it? It was, the National Institutes of Health from the National Library of Medicine I got. It was called The Differential Effects of White Noise in Cognitive and Perceptual Tasks. And this was published back in 2015. When I read this, it's showing that when people listen to white noise, and white noise is, let's just say, well, it's just not, let's say, from 432 hertz to 433 hertz to 434. I mean, all of these frequencies are so close together. Most, I would say 90% of people cannot tell the difference of such close a range of frequencies. If they could, or if there was no white noise within digital audio, I mean, even like our voices, everybody would be talking like the cone heads. They would be talking on one frequency and then they would be responded back. But that's not the way we talk. Our voices go everywhere. And so part of the frequencies that we're talking on or that we are creating are actually within that spectrum of a combination of other frequencies put together is creating a white noise, or even if you want brown noise, pink noise. Those are just the same thing, but with different bands being filtered out to begin with. So when we hear white noise or all these frequencies put together, like you said, it sounds like static on the television, like running water almost. So if within that, we're able to take a digital audio file, whether it is, the music that people listen to from their playlist or just individual recordings they've made, they're able to then, what the software does is goes in, and we've created software that will identify 7 specific frequencies within the mid-range auditory perception of the human being. And it locates those ones and zeros within the file, locks onto them, and then it will filter out just up to 5% of the volume of everything in between those targeted frequencies. So it doesn't really take out too much, but it's a lifestyle that will encourage you to have more energy and better decision making.
I didn't realize, and it makes perfect sense, that white noise actually puts you to sleep, which, hello, that's why people have a fan on at night, maybe by their head, because they like the hum of the fan and it actually is calming to them and puts them to sleep. So it makes perfect sense that if we have too much white noise in our everyday audio recordings, that it would tire out our brain.
And that's exactly what it does. See, the brain actually is much more capable and competent than what we give it credit for. It does not recognize white noise as the words white noise. It actually recognizes each and every individual frequency within a digital audio file. So that's millions and millions of identifying frequencies all at one time. And the brain being like a computer, when you're operating 3 or 4 major programs at once, everything's fine until you upload huge amounts of data. And that's exactly what white noise is. It's millions of frequencies. So like it's you upload all of that, well, the brain's processing slows down. And according to just this one trial that I was talking about earlier, it slows down your heart rate, it slows down your respiratory, but it also slows down so many other things within your subconscious programming. It slows down your glands in your body from producing essential chemicals for your optimal health. So it just is a way of almost putting you into a status of going to sleep. And that's why people listen to it. But as I said, what we have done is found a way to take out the a volume portion of that, so it doesn't change the quality. I had one gentleman tell me one time he was really upset with what we were doing. He says, "Do not mess with the music of Taylor Swift. It's perfect the way it is." And I went, "Okay." I mean, so here, listen to these 2 recordings of Taylor Swift and tell me which one you like better. And the guy even said the same thing. He said, "Man, I just felt like I could dance to her all the time. That other one, man, you just messed it up because it just really almost put me to sleep." And I said, "Well, that was her original recording." And he just turned around and walked away. He just
didn't want to believe it.
Well, yeah, he didn't know what to do with it, but there's so many other people that are using it. I mean, like I said, we're sponsoring podcasters to get this word out to people, and any type of support that you or your listening audience may have or need to be able to learn how to have better health through optimized filtered digital audio. We're on board, and we're here to be able to help anybody understand it.
Well, I certainly appreciate your sponsorship of the No Problem Parenting podcast and bringing this technology to my platform. And I think schools can be implementing this in their audio lessons. I think.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It would just be a great thing because so many more classes are being taught online. And we are here to be able to make that the best experience so that people can grow and become stronger and retain the information longer as well. If you have listened to books on audio, which most people have by now, you listen to one chapter and you get about halfway through the second chapter and you're going, "Oh, I just got to put this down." Well, it's because it's putting you to sleep because there's white noise within all of that talk, with all of the music in the background and such. So, if people that were listening or producing books on audio would think about it, it's like, okay, so I'll use your software and people will be able to listen longer, which means they're going to finish the book quicker, which means they'll be able to come back and get another book. Is that what you're telling me? I'm going, yeah.
Sign up for a free 7-day trial and upload some of your own audio into the Simatrack system. It'll clean it, it'll filter it, and you can learn for yourself. So, Alan, I'm just really grateful and thankful for your time and all your information. I look forward to our continued partnership.
Well, that is just making me do backflips over here also, because you're one of those special people that is, helping the world by helping children, helping parents to be able to elevate and escalate the learning potential of their children. So brava to you, and No Problem Parenting. It's really great work that you're doing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the kind words, Alan, and thank you so much for being on my show today. I really appreciate you. All right, that's it for today, parents. Join me next time for more tips, tools, and resources so that you can become the confident leader your kids crave you to be. If you like this podcast, if you're enjoying the guests, the number one way you can thank me is by subscribing and leaving a quick review of the show. If you're feeling super generous, take a screenshot of the podcast and share it on your Instagram or social media.